During the production phase of our film, I firstly had to come to grips with using all the new technology and equipment. The first thing I had to familiarise myself with was the IMAX, as while I had been using one all year, I only really knew how to use the basic apps such as Safari, etc. However, during this production phase, I had to explore all the different apps and settings in order to get the best possible result out of my film. The second thing I had to do was learn how to adapt to using the camera. I had used cameras before, but not necessarily ones of the same style. I also wanted to take into consideration all the research we've been doing towards the start of the year on different camera angles and shot types, and learning how to use the camera in the best possible way was the first step to achieving the perfect shots. In order to ensure our shots were steady and professional, it was essential that we used a tripod. The tripods were fairly basic, but coming to terms with how to use it properly really helps the overall look of the shots. Another thing we had to come to terms with was sound. Sound was so crucial in our film as there was no dialogue, so the music had to do all the talking. Adding basic tracks in the background of a movie was fairly simple, however layering tracks and sound effects took a bit more consideration. In our film, timing was essential, and it was often hard to line up the tracks perfectly with the shots. This took time to do as it made a big difference to the overall movie when the background tracks were perfect. The importance of sound is something I did not really realise until the editing of our movie. This was also the first time that I'd used Final Cut Pro, and as one of the editors I had to become accustomed to this fairly quickly. In the beginning I found it tricky navigating my way around the app, as some of the settings are quite complex, and for a first time user such as myself, it was at times daunting. I enjoyed editing and experimenting with different styles in order to find the best style and format for our finished outcome. I wanted to ensure continuity, and whilst jump cuts often add suspense to films of a similar nature to ours, it was hard to find the right balance between jump cuts and the cuts looking unintentionally choppy. Saying this, the more I used Final Cut, the more comfortable I became, and I began to find it easy to navigate my way around the app and use different techniques in order to make the final outcome the best it could be. We faced issues regarding titles and ensuring the shots went together well and had an overall professional look. We overcame these issues by adding in dissolves where necessary and also adding different shots such as scenery shots and point of view shots to ensure a smooth edit. We also faced problems when we were trying to make the scene of Maeve emerging from the water as dramatic as possible, as this was the most crucial shot in our whole movie. We ended up using Final Cut to slow down the first part of the shot and use sound to intensify the dramatic scene. I found that the combination of slowing it down and changing the backtrack in time with the shot made a huge difference to the film as a whole.